Lisa Pashota
Yes.
joins us now. After I butchered her name, you'd think with the last name like McElvin, I would do better than this, but I'm not. Hi, Lisa. How are you doing today?
Good morning. You're not the only one, by the way.
Oh, are you having hay fever issues too?
It's St. Louis. It's allergy season in St. Louis.
Yeah, isn't that
It's
the truth?
Worst.
How long has Crime Stoppers been around? I mean,
Well,
it seems like it's been around for decades.
In St. Louis, it's been 13 years.
Yeah.
But nationwide and worldwide, actually, it's been over 40.
Yeah.
Worldwide. Oh.
Somebody came up with the idea and said, if we can get the general populace involved.
In Arizona, actually, it started in Arizona, quickly spread to Canada, which spread a lot to the rest of the world. And then the states had a lot of picking it up to do. Yeah.
It's not that you don't have a lack of business at all, is it? I mean, it seems like there's always a full.
Unfortunately, there's crime out there to be had for information from everybody. So, we'd like to see a day where there's no crime in the news.
Ain't gonna happen.
That would be nice.
It's just
But
not gonna
that's just
happen.
impossible.
Yeah. And
Well, you brought along a couple of
always
these.
have that thought.
First of all, there's a hotline number, and we'll get to that in a minute.
Certainly.
You also have an app at the same time. There's an app for that, ladies and gentlemen.
There's an app for that.
But I just wanted to, looking at this first one, a fellow by the name of Gregory Stevens. He was killed March 18th of this year.
Correct.
Yeah. And you're looking for somebody who had something to do with this.
Well, yeah, it's a suspicious death at this time. The St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department's Homicide Division has handling it. So if anybody knows anything about it, and it says here that on the 18th, a call was received for a supposed sudden death in the 3200 block of Knapp. Excuse me. Upon arrival, the victim, Gregory Stevens, was found. Obvious signs of trauma to upper torso, neck, and head. The victim was pronounced at the scene, and the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department's Homicide Division is looking into it. So we're looking for information for them on this crime, on the timeline. Anybody see anything in the area? This says March 18th, so if anybody was on that block in that area
So was
at
it
that time.
in his home or was it on the street?
I don't have that information. They didn't give me that information.
the interesting thing to me, too, is you could get up to $500, excuse me, $5,000.
$5,000.
Low those many years ago, I recall it was like $100 originally.
It started out in fact, we were one of the first people that actually increased the reward for homicides up to $5,000. So anywhere between $2,000 and $5,000, the information that you send us, that's the reward that you could get once the board votes on it.
What's the longest case that you've had on Crime Stoppers where you've gotten the tip and it has resulted in an arrest?
Actually, I think there's been one or two older homicides that we have actually helped, not Crime Stoppers, the tipsters have actually helped law enforcement agencies pick it up, probably 4 to 5 years old in homicide cases.
That's actually pretty good when you consider the usually 24, 48 hours after a crime occurs like this, that the trail runs cold.
But there's also people out there that are afraid to come forward, or somebody doesn't say something for 2 or 3 years, and then all of a sudden, it's bothering them, or they think it's far enough away that they mention something and somebody overhears something.
So if I pick up the phone and call 1-866-371-TIPS, which is 8477, somebody's going to answer the phone. It's not going to go to a recording device.
Nope.
And
24 hours a day.
And I don't have to, if I remember correctly, I don't have to give my real name at first. I can come up with
the first thing we tell you is don't give us your name. We don't take your name. We don't take your phone number. And there's no caller ID. There's no trace on the IP addresses. There's no texting trace on that. So the one thing we're animate about is we don't contact you back. You don't give us your information. You call us back if you want to know what happened to the case or check on the internet.
Yeah. So how do let's say in the case of Mr. Stevens here that I come up, I've got the information that you can then provide to the proper authorities, and it's ruled that I was the guy who came up with the tip that helped out. How do I collect?
Well, I can't tell you that. That's the super secret stuff, but it's actually been going on for 40 years, and people are getting their money. So once the board votes on how much the reward is for a homicide between $2,000 and $5,000, and it's usually within a month of the arrest.
Okay.
We don't usually have anything lingering unless someone doesn't pick up the reward.
Yeah.
Which actually in St. Louis happens a lot.
But so it's up to me then. as a tipster,
tipster.
I have to kind of keep track of this to find out whether or not, because
Absolutely.
then you're going to post on the webpage or using the app, or I can call in and say, hey, at which point then the process starts where...
Correct. If you go on our website and you want to put a tip in, it'll tell you, it'll give you a code number, it'll give you a password,
okay.
that kind of thing, so you could go back in and retrieve information. Or you could just call us and give us the number we give you for a reference, and then we'll give you the information on
so
that.
I could call back and say, my reference number is
Sure.
any action on this. And,
Absolutely.
Okay.
Let's talk about this double murder with Kenneth
ahead.
Reed and
Kenneth
Damian
Reed,
Alton.
on June 9th in 2016, Kenneth Reed and Damian Alton were found shot to death in the 1300 block of Byrd. 2 black male subjects were seen fleeing the scene at the time of the homicide in a blue sedan parked near the scene. That's not a lot of information, but if you were there in that block on the 9th of June 2 years ago and you saw a blue sedan, why not call us? We don't know who you are. We're not going to take your information, your personal information, but we will take your information on what you saw and get it to the police officers that are investigating this crime.
Do you have a region that Crime Stoppers
Actually,
works
St.
out
Louis,
of?
the St. Louis bi-state area, bi-state region, 20 counties around St. Louis. This is, it's kind of unique. A lot of places only have 1 county per Crime Stoppers.
Got it.
But we have actually, I think we have 3 in the state. 1 is in Kansas City, 1, I believe, Springfield, and 1 here. So we're kind of spread out. But there are a lot of police departments in that region.
And I'm going to guess that Kansas City and St. Louis, probably the preponderance of cases, just because they're major metropolitan areas, that you get a lot of activity from the departments, and they approach you and say, we're kind of stuck on this one. Can you help us out?
Absolutely. I check with them on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis when I come here. You've got anything you need, let us know, and we'll put it out there. Not only on the radio, but in print on the Whirl and on our website, and we're on Facebook and Twitter as well.
Okay, you have a case of 2 sisters found shot to death.
This was in 2015. It's an older case, and they're looking for information. On May 3rd, 2015, around midnight, police found these 2 sisters shot to death in the vacant lot in the 3000 block of North Vandeventer Avenue. Antoinette Hall and, boy, I don't want to butcher this name, Tanesia Smith,
Tanaja.
20 and 15.
I remember this case.
Yeah, so if anybody knows anything, like I said, a couple of years, people start talking about things and they don't realize it, and they can give us a call. There's also Sunset Hills sent us information on a theft at the bridal, at David's Bridal at 10760 Sunset Hills Plaza. Someone stole a purse from in there. The suspect is attached to the photos, and you'll see those on your website, and used credit cards from that theft at Target, Walmart, and Fenton in Gravois Bluffs. The victims and employees have positively identified the male and the juvenile suspect that were in the store at the time of the theft. Witnesses stated that the male asked employees numerous questions about the juvenile walking away. Employees did not see the juvenile in the store, but the female in the photos was not seen at David Bridal, but on the video making fraudulent transactions with the stolen credit card. The vehicle in the photo has been identified as a 2006 to 2010 Infiniti, I don't know cars, but an M35 or M45. And the last fraudulent transaction was used at a gas station in Allerton, Illinois, which is quite a ways from Gravois Bluffs. So if you happen to recognize anybody in those photos, we put them on your website, and they'll be on ours. Give us a call, and we'll get that information to the Sunset Hills Police.
And again, that's 866-371-TIPS, 866-371-8477 for all of these
And
cases.
online, stlrcs.org, and also the free app is P3 Tips. Lisa, thank you so much.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
having me.
Not a problem. Lisa.